Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the College Talk Podcast. My name is Derek DeBurger. With me is Sam Rock.
How you doing, guys?
As you can see, we're in Zoom today.
We sure are
Sam's feeling
a little under the weather right now.
he's getting over something, so we're being
A little safe here.
so we'll have a condensed show, but a show nonetheless.
Show nonetheless, yeah.
All right. So first thing first, the draft happened.
It sure did.
It's gonna be a lot of looking back this episode.
It will.
Yeah, I mean, do you have any immediate reactions from the draft?
The fact that Peyton Wilson went in the end of the third round was insane to me.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
the one standout where me and you were both like, we really like this linebacker from NC State who absolutely cooked Louisville on the field
He
and
he he beat everybody. He was absurd. He was
won like Defensive Player of the Year for the ACC, and he went like 98th overall.
Yeah, he was such he has the size of a linebacker, but the speed of like
He
a
ran a 4.4.
yeah, he's got the speed of a game-breaking wide receiver.
And what's ridiculous is he went to the one team that me and you despise together as
Yeah,
fans of different teams, and that's the Steelers.
yeah, I'm not happy about that.
No, I'm not either.
I mean, that's crazy he fell. Um, were you shocked about Michael Penix going as high as he did?
I was more shocked about where he went and less about like how high maybe because I felt like he was a really good quarterback. I'm by no means a like draft specialist or anything, but I felt like he was arguably a top four quarterback in the draft, no question.
Oh, I mean, he's phenomenal, but like it's just going in, everyone's saying like, oh, he's not gonna, he might be a first round pick, maybe he's a second round pick. We'll see what happens. And then
I
he goes,
mean, like he kept Washington in their playoff games, won one of them against Texas. I mean,
yeah, he's incredible. He was incredible at Indiana. That's how good he is. Um, I think honestly, what was more shocking to me personally is that
yeah,
Knicks went in the first round.
is
Because
Bo Nix? Yeah, that was a little bit crazy.
yeah, Bo Nix, I mean, he put up great numbers at Oregon. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it was interesting. I don't know about Nix as a NFL prospect. We'll see. I
Yeah, he
mean,
fantastic his 2 years at Oregon.
yeah, came from Auburn, started true freshman at Auburn.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Yeah, no, as a pro, not entirely sure. Uh, I did have some stats for you about
go
the draft.
for it.
Yeah. So Nebraska had 0 picks and Florida had 1 pick in the draft.
Right.
Notable because they are two programs that have won championships before. Um, Nebraska, that is their first time since 2020 not having any picks.
Okay.
And for Florida, it is the first time since 1980 that they've had 1 pick.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's been a very long time.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Florida will be interesting. They might just be like I don't know what their talent is looking like this year, but like they might be like the best 5-7 team this year. Like their schedule is ridiculous. Like they play a gauntlet of games in the SEC this year.
Uh, I've not looked into Florida's schedule.
Here,
Their
I'll
recruiting.
pull it up.
I know their recruiting class kind of fell apart last second. So
Yeah, well, aren't they? Was it Florida State or Florida alleged of not paying NIL?
Florida State was the bigger culprit, I believe, but Florida, they promised Jalen Rashad a 16 million, and
And
then
he just transferred to
Georgia. He moved
really.
he moved up in the spring. How sweet is that?
So literally, their schedule is they have Miami, Sanford, A&M, Mississippi State, UCF, Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Florida, LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida State.
Florida? Is Florida a bye week?
Did I say Florida?
Because yeah,
Miami, Sanford, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, UCF, Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Texas. That's where I messed up. LSU, Ole Miss, Florida
Te-
State.
Texas is a tougher opponent than Florida, so that is
Considering Florida plays them,
that is a tough schedule.
it is a very tough schedule. Um, yeah, I don't know what Miami's supposed to look like this year, but I mean, like just in the SEC alone, they play A&M, Mississippi State, Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida, and then they finish out rivalry week with Florida State.
This might, I don't know.
Like their last win realistically could come in like October 5th.
Do you think this might be Billy Napier's last year?
At this rate, probably.
I mean, that is a tough schedule.
I mean, it's weird though because like last year they just lost close games. Looking at it, they lost to a number 8 ranked Missouri team by 2. They lost to Arkansas by 3. Uh,
Beat Tennessee, who was okay. Tennessee was fine.
right, they beat them 13 points, but yeah,
I don't know. Billy Napier, he was very good at
Louisiana,
been kind of shockingly bad so
yeah.
far early in his career at Florida. Um, I don't know. I don't know where like I don't know the direction that's going. And I know they fired their special teams coach, who he was atrocious. I know he was god awful. Um, but
Uh,
just I don't know if that's going to be enough.
we'll see. What do you so of the other school who didn't have any draft picks or only had one, or they had 0? How do you feel like Nebraska is going to do next year? The year 2 Matt Rule.
Yeah, I mean, I think the transfer portal has. I mean, I talked about this in the off season last year. Like he usually takes 3 years to like really get going at a program. The transfer portal seems to have sped that up a little bit. I think they were 5-7 last year.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't hurt that they were in a down Big Ten, that they were playing a lot of bad teams.
Yeah, but they also just couldn't score the ball.
No, that
They
was a
really did.
problem in the Big Ten.
I mean, I'm looking at it and it's like 17 points against Wisconsin, 10 points against Iowa, 10 points against Nebraska. I mean, against Maryland, 17 against Michigan State. Like they didn't score more than 3 touchdowns in their final 4 games.
Yeah, I mean they're bringing in a Raiola.
Mm-hmm.
I have to imagine he's going to start day one. Uh, they're bringing in some. They brought in some nice weapons in the
Right.
offseason. I think they'll make a bowl game.
Okay.
I see them going like 7-5 or 8-4. Honestly, I could. I think
Yeah.
Matt is a great coach. I think they're going to take a step forward. Um, I think they definitely have better prospects than Florida next year.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, just from a schedule standpoint,
Hmm.
I mean, they are in a tough Big Ten. I mean, kind of tough. They kind of got the easy route this year, looking at their schedule. Of the notable opponents, they don't really have like too many big time. They've got in the Big Ten, they've got Illinois, Purdue, Rutgers, Indiana, Ohio State, UCLA, USC, Wisconsin, and Iowa. So they avoid Michigan, they avoid Michigan State, they avoid Washington and Oregon, who have joined.
Yeah, well,
They
it's going to be
they
really
they avoid Penn State as well. So I
mhm.
mean, like if you could honestly say they probably got an easier route this year.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, that's going to in these like big mega conferences. That's going to be the thing going forward. Is like where how does the schedule break for you? You know, it's kind of be. I think it's going to be some of the best teams like that year, talent wise. They're going to rise to the top, and then also there's going to be teams where it's like, okay, they just avoided everybody. They don't play anyone. Like they get to beat up on the Minnesotas of the world
It's like
uh, in a 10-win season.
It'll be interesting. I think a similar situation could be like Louisville last year kind of had an easier. Uh,
Absolutely.
this year for the ACC is probably Syracuse.
And
Syracuse.
Syracuse, wow.
That's why.
Syracuse,
That's why Ohio State's guy, uh, quarterback transferred there. He said he looked at the schedule and thought they had a shot at the playoff.
hmm Uh, yeah, no, it'd be interesting. I'm curious. Okay, since we're really football heavy right now.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm curious what you think USC is gonna do next year.
Let me look at their schedule.
If
See
it
what.
were sticking with the Big Ten with Nebraska, because they're on Nebraska's schedule.
Right.
I personally, I think USC is gonna be like a top 10 team.
Really?
I think Miller Moss is really good.
Yeah.
Gonna shore up their defense enough. And then I guess it all depends on how their O line looks, but
Oh, that's the big question mark. I
yeah.
mean, also that defense. Like that defense last year was just a big gaping hole.
Yeah, but that's because they had Alex Grinch. Alex Grinch was bad.
I know.
They
Um,
had
I mean, looking at it, they play out of conference. They have LSU, Utah State, and Notre Dame. In conference, they have Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Penn State, Maryland, Rutgers, Washington, Nebraska, and UCLA. So,
I mean, non-conference, that's a very tough schedule.
yeah, I mean, the only gimme is Utah State.
Oh, is Utah State? I thought that was Utah.
No, Utah State.
Oh, then yeah, no, that's a win.
Yeah, but
Eat.
I'll say they're going to get. I'm trying to count losses right here. Is Washington going to be good with losing their coach and losing their starting quarterback? And are they going to be anything under Jed Fish?
I don't think in year one. Personally, I don't because just lost too many guys and not enough people from Arizona transferred after Jed Fish left. So
I
it's like
mean,
Washington lost everybody when DeBoer left, and then didn't get anyone when Jedfish came to him.
so I'm looking at it, and it's like realistically, they could be at worst like an 8-4 team. They could lose to LSU. They could maybe lose to a Michigan that's depleted. Uh, Penn State and Notre Dame. So I'm gonna go with like 10-2. I feel like they're gonna win half of those.
Yeah, that's like a top 10 team.
Yeah, probably a playoff team.
I
In
think
a
they're good.
yeah, they do avoid Ohio State.
hmm Ohio State, and they avoid Oregon too, right?
Yeah, they don't have Oregon either.
My opinion, those are by far the two best teams in the Big Ten.
Really, who's Oregon's quarterback?
Dylan Gabriel.
Oh yeah, the Oklahoma guy.
Yeah,
And
I
then
think.
Dante Moore's their backup
Yeah, yeah.
from UCLA.
hmm
So
So
yeah.
that's I guess that's our little mini Big Ten preview.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, it is going to be a fun football conference to watch this year, as much as I hate to admit it.
Yeah, yeah, but it's weird. I respect the SEC's expansion far more than I respect the Big Ten's expansion
Oh, 1000%.
because they're at least like,
They're going like a state over. They're not going to a different ocean.
yeah, it's.
They said, let's add Oklahoma and Texas.
I hate the SEC, but like it's not. It
It
makes
makes sense. Right.
yeah, because like Austin is right next to Louisiana and Arkansas.
Right.
Oklahoma's adjacent. You can shoot
Right.
to the southeast, even though it's not really. But
There was an ongoing joke about the Big Ten's expansion on how the legendary commercial of the Big Ten schools,
mm,
that commercial is going to cease to exist because of this expansion, because it's basically just going to be the whole USA.
I mean, that's kind of what they were going for in the first place with that commercial.
I mean, it really was just,
Started in the Rose Bowl, and,
uh,
and then they're like big leap over to Nebraska.
uh,
I think they're still gonna do a version of that. It's such a popular commercial.
It's a cool commercial.
It genuinely is a good commercial.
Yeah.
All right. Other news, we'll stick with the football news. Reggie Bush got his Heisman back.
Let's go. Yeah, Reggie.
I think the reason that they ultimately did this is because people, namely Johnny Manziel, he was the big one.
He was a big proponent. Yeah.
He said he was never going to go to another Heisman ceremony until Reggie Bush got his trophy back.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Heisman, what's it called? The Heisman committee, Heisman group, whatever they're called.
I'm not exactly sure, but I know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah, the Heisman people. I think they saw the writing on the wall and they're like, we don't want to lose, you know.
But also, just like doesn't make sense with the current state that college athletics is now to disclude someone for doing what is basically being done now, but legally.
Hmm. Yeah. Also, Reggie Bush was suing to get his Heisman
He
back
sure
as well.
was.
Like this just drops a lawsuit. It's something that you don't have to litigate and pay for anymore.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, no, we're big proponents of
Oh, absolutely.
Reggie is his Heisman. I don't think the $1 million home made him run any harder. First, like he won the Heisman because of his play,
I don't know. We talked about twin beds on a couple of episodes ago during
more than a couple of episodes ago. That was a long time.
talking about the Northeast Women's Basketball Conference and how that makes a difference.
I
I'm just
can't.
saying, if I have a plush bed to sleep in, I'm giving you a point one better. I
Yeah,
got the
but
extra percent.
a plush bed in a dorm room is the same as a plush bed in $1 million mansion.
I don't know. I don't have that screaming neighbor next door to me with the cinder block walls and the AC that may or may not work.
All right, what next thing? The next thing. This is I believe the last football news we have. But Deion Sanders has said that he will not follow his kids to the NFL once they go pro. We've talked about this before. Do you believe Deion Sanders when he says this?
Um, yeah, because right now he wouldn't be a coach in the NFL because he's not a successful coach at this level right now. He was a successful coach at Jackson State. That's why he was able to move to Colorado.
Okay, but he went like 500 his first year at Jackson State, and
Right, but then he's able to turn it around.
stick his.
I'm just saying, currently at the current state of where Colorado's at. What did you say? Why are you smirking?
You said currently at the current state.
Well, currently at the current state
Yeah,
of where he currently is
yeah,
at Colorado, he
currently.
will not get an offer currently to another. He won't go.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, he's still got a year. His kids have a year left in college.
Right.
Uh, like, what if they go 10-2, 11-1?
They're projecting Shadur to be the number one quarterback off the board next year. Is he that good?
Yes,
Really? He's that good?
yes. Shador Sanders is very, very good at quarterback.
Really?
Yes.
I guess I gotta watch it more because I just looked at a 4-8 record and I was just like,
No, 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 no. Shador, like the problem with Colorado initially was that they had nobody in the trenches, offense or defense.
mm,
Couldn't stop a blitz. They couldn't uh
protect Shadur.
on defense, they couldn't stop a run. Um, they couldn't get to the quarterback. That was their problem. And then they started to get injured, and then they Deion Sanders kind of he panicked a little bit as coach, honestly. I mean, that's what he took the play calling away from Sean Lewis, and the first game that he did that, they sucked. They were terrible. It's like, okay, that was a dumb move. Like the offense was not the issue. So I don't know why he took the play calling away from Sean Lewis. But Shador Sanders through the whole thing was very, very. He's a very talented quarterback. I'm telling you.
Wow. Okay.
If Colorado is good this year, it's because they've fixed whatever issues they had in the trenches.
Okay.
Um, I just don't know if they're going to be good. They've just lost so many players in the portal.
Let me look at the portal, see what they've done.
Most recent departure I saw from them was their running back Edwards. Um,
Oh yeah, he just committed, I think.
yeah, I think to Kansas,
Yeah, Kansas
which
State. Yeah.
my guy Chris Kleiman, he's a fantastic coach. That
Yes.
it's a great move for Edwards, but he was really good. You know, he committed to Notre Dame initially out of high school.
Mm.
I mean, he's a very talented back.
Their top two commits are a defensive lineman, Quincy Wiggins from LSU, and a defensive lineman named Samuel Okulola, Okunlola
I don't
from
know.
Pittsburgh. Um, and then another one named BJ Green from Arizona State. So their top four of their top three of their top four transfers in are D linemen. But I will also say this. I won't throw you into this. I thought last year with the transfers that USC got between Bear Alexander and other guys on that defensive front for USC, they would be something. And then that defense wasn't anything. So it really just it's a question mark if it gels.
The difference with that, though, I don't think that was about gelling because USC had a ton of talent on
Yeah,
defense
they did.
last year. It's just that the system was so bad. It
Yeah,
was
well,
such a bad system that you know, like a high school team could walk in off the street and like score 30 on them. It was bad. It was a bad scheme. I think Colorado has a better coaching staff than USC's defensive coaching staff was last year. Um, but no, I mean I'm weary about them because of all the movement that they've had over the course of like 2 years. Like last year, they brought in like 80 guys in the portal,
yeah.
and then they're bringing in like 50 this year. And it's like how much can you do this?
Who knows?
But I don't. If you had to guess right now, if you had to say, are they more likely to be above or below 500? What are you gonna guess?
Colorado?
Yeah,
Can I look at their schedule?
yeah. Go ahead.
Sure.
I mean, I will say the Pac-12 was tough last year. That was a
It
very
was a
good.
great Pac-12 to finish it off last year.
It was the best conference in football last year.
That's not a too far-fetched thing to say. But I probably would give the nod to the SEC.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, maybe
Washington played in that.
Washington, Oregon, USC, Utah. Yeah. Um, so looking at it, they are in the Big 12.
Yep.
So they've got North Dakota State, Nebraska, Colorado State.
Dakota State.
Hmm?
They play North Dakota State.
Game one. They got
Oh,
North Dakota State.
North Dakota State has a new coach. Maybe
Hey, but it's still a dominant program.
that's a tough one.
It's a fun one though.
I
It's
mean, it's not as tough right now as playing South Dakota State. I will say that. That if you're looking for a genuine challenge, play South Dakota State.
all right. Um, they are so just running through it. North Dakota State, they they beat them. I think it'll be close. Nebraska, year two, Matt Rule might have it figured out, so I'm gonna give them a loss. Colorado State, they win. Baylor, that'll be a loss. UCF, they'll win. Kansas State, they'll lose. Arizona, they'll beat. Cincinnati, their coach will be fired before they play them. Uh, Texas Tech,
I think they're gonna
uh,
fire Scorp Satterfield.
dude, they already hate him. We hated him. Like,
We hated him. We couldn't fire him.
yeah, I mean, they got Utah, Kansas, and Oklahoma State. I'm going with right at it, 6-6.
Okay, but if you had to pick,
No, genuinely, like I feel like that's the line. They're
Oh,
500. They're right at 500. Are they above or below it? No, they're right at it.
but okay, no, like pick one. What's more likely, over or above 500? I'll tell you this right now. FanDuel has their line set at 4.5 wins.
So I'm being generous at with two more. So guess I'm going under
Okay.
at 5 because I mean like they don't beat Utah. Kansas is damn good. Oklahoma State's bringing back one of the top running backs, and they don't have a way to stop the run from last year, as far as we know. Uh, Kansas State's going to be a tough one. Baylor's going to be a tough one, and I think Nebraska's going to give them troubles. Like they genuinely beat UCF, Cincinnati, and Arizona in conference, and in our conference it's Colorado State and North Dakota State, which will be a tough game. So it's like
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
trying to find the line there.
Colorado State gave them fits last year. They
Right, it went into double overtime, and then
it,
Travis Hunter got hurt. Was it triple?
I don't know how
Actually, I can look at it right now. I have it right here.
it's crazy how the internet works, man. Now it's just
Du-
right finger.
Double overtime. Went into double overtime.
All right. That was a good game though. I watched that. I,
And
wa- I
man,
watched
I
it.
fell asleep to that game. I
I
couldn't stay up.
didn't watch the whole thing. I watched a lot of it.
I fell asleep to it.
Yeah.
That
But
was in peak Colorado hype.
it sure was. Well, because that was their third win. They started off 3-0.
It sure did.
They got to like 17 or 18 in the AP poll. Also in
And
the
the,
podcast poll, the CTP poll.
it did make. It sure did.
Yeah. But I mean, we'll see. I going off that 4.5 number, I would absolutely say they're going to win more than 4 games. Like, I have a hard time imagining them being worse.
I mean, they played close to Colorado State last year. You could argue North Dakota State's better than Colorado State, and every other team that they play other than Colorado State is better than Colorado State, and they went to overtime with them.
Colorado State though had some. I will give them some credit. They had a little bit of talent on their team. They were not like a loaded group of five team, but they were one that it was not like for a team that is not like a bowl team. It's not a cakewalk, obviously. Even though they did jump out to a huge lead in that game. Just saying they had some talent.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
That's all we got for football, right? Unless there's anything else.
No, not really as far as the football goes.
All right.
Any standouts for you in the draft? Didn't really ask you that.
Um, no, I mean just Bo Nix was shocking. Cooper Jean falling as
To the second round
to the second round, that was I thought
to
kind of ridiculous.
Philly. You wanted the white boy corner to go first rounder?
I thought he had the talent, yeah. I mean, look, there's two arguments to be made for that. Is one, he's a white cornerback, so that's why he fell, which I don't think there's nothing
No,
there.
no.
So you could say that it's Isaiah Simmons. He kind of is a very, very similar mold as Isaiah Simmons out
But
of
Isaiah Simmons was so good in college, and I will admit I would be a horrible NFL GM because I saw Arizona Cardinals draft Isaiah Simmons, and I'm like, great pick.
he just hasn't like so that's the problem is that Cooper DeJean he was primarily a corner for Iowa. He would line up at safety and he would line up at linebacker.
Oh,
Sometimes he'd put his hand in the dirt and like just rush the passer. Or yeah,
so he's a good football player. He's just not a elite one position player.
he got a lot of snaps at a lot of different positions, and I
I got
think seeing how it turned out so far, for Isaiah Simmons, I think a lot of GMs might be wary about that, and so they're like, I'm not gonna take a flyer on this guy that is does not have necessarily a like a solidified position, even though I think Cooper DeJean has more of a solidified position than Isaiah Simmons did.
yeah,
I
definitely.
think it's a combination of those two factors.
Right.
I really do. But Um, I guess some quickie news in women's basketball. We talked last week about how Haley Van Lith committed to TCU,
Yes.
and then she came out and was like, "I haven't signed anything yet." What are you doing?
And then she officially committed to TCU.
Yeah, officially signed.
Right. But it's like,
She was just trying to like milk more NIL out of it. And it's like, what are you doing?
it's
I,
ridiculous.
here's the thing. We're Louisville fans. She was the villain to us last year because she left Louisville to go play for the Devil, Kim Mulkey.
I'll be perfectly honest. I wasn't the biggest fan of her while she was here.
I get that. I get that. But she was still a good player. You know, like
Oh, she was a good player. I do feel like felt like it was the Haley Van Lith show, and then she had her other four supporting cast out there, and I didn't feel like she was good enough to do that.
I mean, she got exposed a little bit at LSU just because Kim Mulkey is stupid and thought she could play her at the point.
Yeah,
And Van Lith is not a point guard. She's a very good shooting guard in college, I think. And I still think that she has the ability to work her way into the WNBA draft, even though she's just completely fallen out of it as
yeah.
it's but it's like it feels so like to say like she was the villain for me personally last year. But now it just feels sad because it's like this precipitous fall from grace for her of like you were like a lot of people viewed you as like, yeah, you're probably a clear like late first round draft pick in the WNBA. Now she's not even a pick. And like I think she hit the portal thinking like, oh, I've got options, you know, USC, Stanford, those are my options. And then she ended up at TCU.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I
Well,
feel bad.
it's also like she did burn bridges, though. It felt like.
Yes, but I think both can be true. She absolutely burned some bridges, but I do feel a little bad for her. And the reason I feel bad for her is because she doesn't play for Kim Mulkey anymore. Kim Mulkey's the devil.
Sure is.
But I mean that's the only news we really had for basketball either side. Um,
Oh, did you see who committed today?
no.
Jaden
Jaden
Quinstons?
Quaintance?
Yeah,
Where's he going?
Arizona State.
What?
I know.
Jaden Quaintance is going to Arizona
I
State?
I know, right?
That's wild.
That is very wild. That was just basically announced before we got on.
That's insane. That's got to be all their NIL.
I mean, like, I didn't know is Bob Hurley trying to save his job? Like, what's?
That's he's trying to save
I
his.
mean, like, what? All the crystal balls were like Louisville. I was like, let's go. We're getting a 5-star. And then
That's
Arizona State.
I don't think that's the best career move for him, but
Hey, it's a little bitterness, I will admit, coming out from myself when I'm like, I wanted him pretty badly.
I want him too. But Arizona State is
You know what? He was a small center, anyways. He was only 6'8". He can't be that good.
uh, Bobby. I don't know. Bobby Hurley's he's not the coach that I once thought he was. And when he
Wait,
got to Arizona State, I was like, this guy's really good. Like I like this Bobby Hurley guy, and he's just gotten worse and worse. But
not to be confused with his brother at
oops,
UConn.
oh my God, the best coach in the sport.
Yeah.
All right, let's do some. I mean, do you got anything more basketball or
I also saw the UK got another recruit, Lamont Butler Jr. from a 4-year starter at San Diego State University.
he's good.
Uh, I don't really understand it. I'll be honest.
They need players.
Well,
They
I'll
need
explain it because Mark Pope's offense is 5 out, very dedicated towards efficiency and layups and dunks and 3-pointers. They just signed a point guard that career shooting wise is in the 20% from three.
Yeah, but it's his first year to school. He's got to build out a roster first.
I get it, but it's like when you want to try to find guys that like fit your system if you can. I understand if you're like Rick Pitino at St. John's, you just gotta get players. I get that, you know? Like you
I
just
think
gotta fill
that's
out a roster.
right now. He's just got to get guys, and a lot of people are like that.
I mean, that happened. They've got a couple of other guys. They got Andrew Carr, a forward from Wake Forest, uh, Otug Otega Owen from Oklahoma, another forward, and then their first initial recruit was Amari Williams from Drexel, the center. So they've got 4 guys now.
I think they're going to get Jackson Robinson from BYU. He just put his name in the portal. But we got less than 4 minutes. Let's hit some baseball real quick.
Go for it.
It's the one that's in the season right now.
And the
Uh,
one we're talking the least about.
this is a fun one. We'll talk about it when the tournament starts. Uh, so the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, UMES for short, is currently the only D1 baseball team without a win. They are 0-37 right now.
Now, is that just random, or do you think that they're pretty bad because they're 0-37?
Don't do.
Some calls going.
Will they? There's like 2 weeks left in their season, basically.
Yeah,
2 to 3 weeks. Do you think they're gonna win a game?
no. Morale is in the dirt. It's got to be. I mean, like, their
I
coach wants the season to be over. The guy who's pitching's like, why am I here?
They've got a lot of pitchers. That'd be sad if they just had one. That
Maybe
would
that's why they're 0-37. They only got that one guy starting on the bump every 37 games.
arm is about to fall off at this point.
Hey, Skippy, this is 1920. You go out there and you throw 140 pitches a night, okay?
And then do it again tomorrow. I'm gonna go. I would say yes. Why not? They play in the Northeastern Conference. It's terrible. They
What is with your fascination in the Northeastern Conference in bad
never
schools?
realize just how bad it is, and I love it.
It
I
is
love it.
ridiculously bad ever since you brought it up. Because I was like, you showed us the women's basketball,
Like everything.
right? And then you proceed to. I was like, oh, let me look at the men. And the men, statistically, the worst conference in basketball.
Yep.
I assume it's the same for baseball.
They're not good. They're not. And that's also that doesn't help that teams that are not in the American South tend to be not as good at baseball. So the fact that the Northeastern Conference plays baseball at all is a bit shocking. All right, one last one. Columbia has officially won the regular season in baseball. They won the Ivy League.
Good on Columbia.
I was going to do um like, hey, what other teams do you think are going to win their conference? You know, like who's going to win the SEC? Who's going to win the SEC or ACC? Uh, but we have less than a minute and a half, so I don't think we can do that.
Go for it. Spitfire.
SEC.
Kentucky.
Okay. All right. ACC.
Clemson.
Okay. Big Ten.
Iowa.
All right. Pac-12.
Uh,
There's an easy one there.
Pac-12. Oh, Oregon State.
Yeah. Um.
Big
Big,
12.
yeah. The Big 12.
West Virginia or UCF.
Okay. Big West.
I haven't.
UC Irvine. Just
Okay,
say
fair. Oh yes, UC Irvine. Yes,
last one. Conference USA.
Western Kentucky. Why not?
They've got a shot. They got a shot. All right. That's it. We got less than a minute. I think we're done here. Anything else you want to say?
Nope. Hopefully we'll be back to regular schedule program next week.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.
Bye bye.